Hello everybody, welcome back to Miss B's Plan B. It's lovely to see you. I hope that you're well. Today we're going to be doing another session about symmetry. So if you think back to the last one, we were going out into our local area looking for examples of symmetry. My first question for you is, can you remember what do we mean when we talk about symmetry? So you might want to pause the video if you want to give you a bit more thinking time, or if you want to discuss it with somebody you're with. So what do we mean when we talk about symmetry? Right, let's find out what you said. So symmetry is all about changing a shape in some way so that it still looks exactly the same as it did before. And the type of symmetry we were looking at is what we call reflective symmetry. And I'm just going to recap what that means. So with reflective symmetry, it's where we can put a real mirror or an imagined one if you haven't got one, but you can put a mirror down the middle of an object, and if it has reflective symmetry, when you look in the mirror, the shape will look exactly the same as if you removed the mirror. You will see the reflection. So this heart has reflective symmetry because, as you can see, if this is the mirror line, every detail on this side of the heart is exactly the same on the opposite side. It's just flipped over. So it has reflective symmetry. And it's very important to notice that each of these details here and here, they are both exactly the same distance from the mirror line for it to have reflective symmetry. What we're going to do, we're going to play a little game next just to get you thinking about reflective symmetry. And what I want you to imagine is that we have got an imaginary mirror line down the middle of us. And what we're going to do is a little bit like Simon Says, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, Miss B says, and I'm going to give you an action. And you're going to copy the action, but you are only going to copy it if it is symmetrical. Okay, so if I did something like this, both of my hands are on my head, okay, and they're the same distance away from the middle of me, so that is symmetrical. But if I did this, okay, it is not exactly the same on both sides, so you wouldn't do this one. Okay, so you'd do this one because it's symmetrical, but you wouldn't do this one. So you've got to watch out, otherwise you might get caught out. So only do the ones that are symmetrical, so the same on both sides. So get ready. Here we go. Miss B says, do this. Miss B says, do this. Miss B says, do this. Did any of you do it? It's not the same. Remember, only do it if it's the same, if we've got reflective symmetry. Miss B says, do this. Miss B says, do this. Miss B says, do this. Did you do it? Oh, hope you didn't get caught out. Remember, it's not the same on both sides, so we shouldn't be doing it. Miss B says, do this. Not quite the same. One arm is above the other. Miss B says, do this. Excellent. That one is symmetrical this time. Miss B says, do this. Miss B says, do this. Miss B says, do this. Not symmetrical. It's different both sides. Miss B says, do this. Yeah, excellent. Miss B says, do this. 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 You're getting good. I can't catch you out. Excellent. So that's something you might like to play with some friends and family at home. So what we're going to do next is I would like you today to have a go at making some symmetrical patterns. So what you can do is, whilst you're taking your daily exercise, as long as it's safe to do so, you could go around and collect some objects that are on the forest floor. Remember, we're not going to be picking living things. So collect objects and then you can use them to make a symmetrical pattern. Remember, whilst picking up things, do please take care because there can be sharp and dangerous things out there. So check with a grown-up if you're not sure. Please remember to keep your hands away from your face and to wash them really properly as soon as you get in. And then when you've collected your objects, the best thing to do is to sort them. So I've actually sorted mine already, and I've put ones together that are roughly the same size, because for it to be symmetrical, we're going to have to look for objects that are about the same. And what you can do is I'm going to pop my stick in the middle, and I'm going to talk you through how I'm going to make my symmetrical pattern. Then I'll take a photograph of it so you can see it, because it looks better from above, and then you can have a go at making your own symmetrical pattern. So here goes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking for objects, okay? So these two leaves, for example, are about the same size and about the same shape. What I'm going to do is I have to make sure, okay, that I flip them over the mirror line. Okay, so I wouldn't put them both the same way. I flip it, okay, so then that will be the reflection, and I position them the same distance from that mirror line. Then I might think, right, what shall I use next? I might choose some sticks. Okay, I've snapped these already to the same size. I'm going to put those there. I have to make sure I'm putting them at the same angle, okay, but just remembering it's flipped on the other side. I might put some petals. I was lucky I had some roses. They're dead now, unfortunately, but the petals fell off when I went to recycle them, so I'm going to use those. I might actually put some seeds on top of the petals, so you might want to layer some of your objects to make it a bit more interesting. What else do I have? I've got some more petals from the roses. Again, I've got to check which way round they are, because it needs to be flipped over. I'm going to put those up there. What else do I have? Oh, some more leaves. Some of these actually were leaves from weeds. I did some weeding, so obviously we can pick weeds because we don't want weeds growing in our garden, so you could use the leaves of weeds as long as they're safe to touch. You don't want to do stinging nettles because that would hurt. Some more weeds, and I'll position those there, all the time making sure it's the same distance from my mirror line. Here we go. What should I do next? So like that, just checking all the time, is it the same distance from the mirror line? Trying to make it as interesting as possible. Remember, there's no wrong or right pattern. You can just get creative and spend as long as you want on it. It's something you could spend hours on if you wanted to. What shall we add now? Let's add some more sticks down here. Excellent. So I'm pretty happy with that for now. What I'll do is I'll take a photo of that from above, because then it's easier for you to see the symmetry, and then you can go and make some of your own. So have a look at my pattern from above. So I hope you like that pattern, and it's given you some ideas for what you could have a go at creating yourself. Remember, there is no right or wrong pattern, because you can make it as simple or complicated as you like, as long as you remember that central mirror line and to make it the flipped version on the other side. Just remembering that, so you wouldn't put two leaves the same way round. You have to flip it over so that if you had a mirror, it would look exactly the same. Another thing you might like to try is, depending on the weather, you could actually work using the conditions. For example, we've had a lot of rain recently, so you might even decide to make a symmetrical pattern in the mud using a stick. You could draw it in. Or we've also had some snow in the past, and during that time I made some symmetrical patterns in the snow, which I'll share with you now. So I hope you have lots of fun making your symmetrical patterns. Remember to stay safe and follow government guidelines, and once you get more confident making them, you can see how complicated a pattern you could make. So you could start layering things up and making it much more detailed. So I hope you have lots of fun and take care. I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.